I'm really pissed off.
Has it ever happened to you that you read an ad, talk to the guy selling it or the sales agent?
You drive 1,100 kilometers to go see it, and when you're there, it's not what they told you?
In my videos, there are always new purchases, but I've never made a video complaining about this kind of sellers.
I don't know if they want to scam you, if they're trying to mess with you, or if they think you're gullible. And even if they're not scams, why haven't you bought them? They have scammed me out of my free time since I wasted my time going to see, which wasn't at first what they said. Maybe it's more of an attempt to fool me than a scam. Not every purchase is perfect, and car buying can go wrong. Along the way, they're filled with all kinds of adventures. And today I'm going to tell you about the 3 worst ones of 2022. What surprise do we have? Well, there's no engine. I mean, basically what we have here running is just a body with it's riding along. It was hit hard from behind and totally wrecked. It also rolled backward a lot. It could be. It could definitely be. It's from the back, really strong, yes. And see here, it's not centered. Yes, that wasn't from behind. See, it's not centered. Yes, exactly. Toledo has to be on the right and CRN has to be here on the left. Yes, you're absolutely right. A very strong hit from behind. My name is Mark and I'm a car fanatic. Here's our first story of the day. The ad said, beautiful 2002 Ferrari 360, serviced at an official workshop and very well maintained. All this for just 75,000 euros over the phone. They added that it belonged to an elderly gentleman. And there's something very special back here. Hey, Raul, isn't it an Ibiza? Huh? No. After checking, the Ferrari was an Italian car, not Spanish, from 1999 and not from 2002, as the ad said. The mileage was very questionable because of its origin and also because I didn't see any official service records, just like the ad said. The owner told me he'd had it for just over 2 years and hadn't done anything to it. Why urine? And mouse droppings everywhere. And the car wouldn't start. The interior was also very dirty. The headliner was sagging and it didn't have a current technical inspection. Oh, no insurance either. So even if it started, you couldn't test drive it. Without a doubt, mouse droppings and urine are signs of neglect or possibly some electrical wiring chewed by a mouse. And possibly a future electrical problem. And in a Ferrari, this means a lot of expenses ahead. I love it when plans work out well. This is Mark's Garage, and every Thursday, there's a new episode. Second story. My brother-in-law doesn't know how much he can ask for the Land Rovers, and he wants to get rid of 3 Land Rovers. Make us an offer. 1 is restored, but they all work and have papers in his name. A few weeks ago, they sent me an email. Apparently, a workshop that knows me or follows me gave my number to a lady who had her brother-in-law. 3 Land Rovers for sale. The lady tells me that they have those 3 Land Rovers for sale. She sends me some photos and I ask her, what price do you want for the vehicles? She tells me, no, we prefer that you come and make us an offer for all 3. We don't know what they're worth. I tell her, man, I usually don't go anywhere without offers. So in the end, she tells me, no, come and see them and you can make us an offer yourself. Okay, well, it's not very close, it's not very far. I mean, I go to this little town that's about an hour from Olesa and I go to see the cars. And when I get to the garage, I find that out of the 3, there are only 2. The one that's supposedly restored isn't there.
In the photos, you can only see the bodywork, but the wheels, for example, aren't painted.
And he painted the roof black, which doesn't really match the color.
Maybe it should be white with white wheels, but anyway, I haven't seen any photos of the interior either.
And I said to this gentleman, how much can you give me? And I said, well, let me take a look. We make a video to see what condition the vehicle is in, and this is what you're going to see now. You're going to see a video, and I'll show you the 2 that were there and what condition they were in. At the end, I make him an offer. And after the video, I'll explain to you what happened. Because it's really outrageous, it's outrageous.
Yes, sir.
Here we have the two Land Rovers. If you want, we'll start with this Land Rover. Then we'll move on to the more interesting one. Later, I'll tell you why it's the most interesting. Let's see. What Land Rover do we have here in front of us? Well, we have a Land Rover Series 2.
What do we need to look at when buying this vehicle?
Look, you have a Land Rover with the headlights, which are here in the central grille. So here we have a Series 2, then here is the hood. Do you see that the hood is completely flat? Normally the Series 3 was thicker, so we have a hood that is correct. Then we have the mirrors, they are correct. They were also optional on a Series 2A. So here we have a Series 2A.
Tarragona plate, 75,324.
This must be from around the early 70s, 71 or so it's a Series 2A. It was still the early 70s. This spoke design is the typical Series 2 steering wheel. And then inside here we can see that we don't have the correct seats. The seats in the back are missing. You can already see the condition it's in. It's pretty bad. But what do we have to look for? We have to look for rust once we're inside. Check what rust is in this area. As you can see, there are no holes. This is a sign that there were rats. Do you see it? Was this taken from some kind of barn? Heating from that time? Check the correct location of the fuel, the amperes, and the water temperature. And the speedometer we have there on the right. In a Series 2A, this had to be here in the center glove box. Some of them have the optional glove box, but it's very rare for it to come with the Land Rover symbol. The cover is missing. The wipers, these wipers are really cool. It had two wipers. They move really slowly. And here it blows, well, as you can see, the air, it's interesting. It blows air so that the front windshield doesn't fog up. This car has a safari roof. It's all made of aluminum, all aluminum. And then what we look at are the most critical parts. We check how the chassis is. Above all, this is the firewall area, which usually has rust here. And if there's no rust here, then we check behind to see if there's any corrosion here on the firewall area. Because if this were damaged, we would have to take apart half the car to fix it, so it would be very expensive. Here we have the chassis, which is in good condition. And where do we look for the vehicle identification number? Well, look, the vehicle identification number on all Range Rovers, Series 2, Series 2A, Series 3, they're all here. The vehicle identification number is always here. If it starts with an E, it means it's a Spanish vehicle. So Santana is not an English Land Rover. Always with the E, it's a Spanish Land Rover, meaning Santana with the license. We check that the chassis is fine, it's not bent. We check the same thing in the back.
This mud is typical. If you find one of these cars and plan to store it before restoring, remove all the mud.
Because it causes rust and sometimes holes due to moisture, so you also have to clean the rails underneath here. But as you can see, it's not bent, it's just surface rust and it's pretty solid. At the chassis level. The chassis is super important when buying a vehicle. Check the chassis, it's what costs the most money. If the chassis is bad, it must be fully disassembled to remove it. A fortune, the chassis of a Series 2A or Series 2 can cost you up to €1,000 just for the chassis. So is it better to buy a donor to get a chassis if you're already buying a donor? Basically, like in this case, logically, the numbers just don't add up. We're gonna check this vehicle's engine and see if it's the correct one. Here in La Calandra, we have this bar here, which we move to the left, then we lift it up with the help of the other hand.
And what surprise do we have, gentlemen?
What surprise do we have? Well, there's no engine. I mean, what we have here running is simply a body with a chassis. And that's it. There's still a lot of work to do. It's a huge project.
Having seen the vehicle, let's take a look at the vehicle we have here on the left.
This is a Serie 2. It's not a Serie 2A like the other, older one from 64 or 65. The headlights should also be here in front in the correct position on the grille.
It's also missing the Land Rover emblem.
This one, I could put the wheel here on the hood because it's the most logical place. If we find a pickup without this, it may have been converted and wasn't originally a pickup. Is this really telling you that this Land Rover we're looking at here, which is a pickup, was originally a pickup?
Without even looking too much, we already know it.
We have the roof, which is totally different from the other one, a lot. It's full of junk in here, from what I can see. And this is also made of aluminum, and this is normally the color of this roof. Did it tell you what color the rims had to be? In this car, we can check if it's a Series 2 car, English or Spanish. Normally, if we know it's from 1963 or 1964, we already know it wasn't English, it was Spanish. But to verify it, we do the same thing. We look here in this location for the chassis number. You probably can't read it because it's so rusty. And with the camera, you can't see it, but it starts with an E. So since it's an E, this was already Santana. We're not talking about an English version, which would be much more expensive. Another thing we can look at is the hinges. As you can see, these hinges are round, they stick out more.
This is also telling you that it's a Series 2, a very special, very beautiful type of hinge. And it's telling you that it has the correct hinges.
What else is in this vehicle? Let's open the car.
And we open the car. And what do we find? Well, it doesn't have the original seats. What else?
Do you notice the roof is aluminum? A Series 2 steering wheel as expected, right? Plus something amusing you sometimes find in these vehicles. Well, look, you find that this is from an Alfa Romeo, I'm sure. This isn't from a Land Rover, right? And then we see that you have the speedometer that's here, which also isn't from a Land Rover. I'm not sure if you can see it. Where should they be in the middle? Well, you don't have the speedometer or the temperature gauge or anything, because someone took it out. As you can see, someone made this box here on the right? And they also made a pretty curious opening in it, so we have some interesting modifications. Right? They took off the lid. I don't know why. Maybe to look at the levels, or who knows. We can see that it also had an overdrive. And would the overdrive be this one here? Huh? Here would be the short and long overdrive, and the gear shift, okay? Let's also check the same thing for rust. We can see there's no rust around here. So we see that it's a good vehicle in terms of the bodywork. Let's take a look at the other side. It closes pretty well. In the back, you can also check the chassis to make sure it's not all bent or anything like that. We see the door. This one is completely damaged. The rear hatch is bent and broken. All the aluminum. These hatches are very hard to find and to fix, right? It can cost you between 500 and 700 euros to find one that's in good condition. We can see that the chassis, and this is the central beam. This one here is in good condition, just a little bent on the sides, but that can be fixed easily. And we also take a look at ourselves. See? It was bent, and you can clearly see here that it's bent. I mean, you could already see it from the back. And here you can see that the chassis has been bent both from the top and the bottom. That's why the left and right fenders of the chassis are facing inward. This needs to be repaired, right? There's a bunch of junk here because this car has been out in the field. It's better to remove this mud because it causes rust. And what we're going to do is look on the right side to see what we find. What we see is that there are some traces that this car has had some kind of mouse and all that. Electrical issue, well, this is an electricity issue. There are things connected that should be in the back, which wasn't right. They had also installed seat belts, which this car didn't originally have. All right, let's open this. It's already open. Let's see. What a coincidence. Huh? Also, well, it's really well made. Even though it's not original, it's pretty interesting how they did it.
Normally, you also check if there are holes here in the back doors.
Correct. Typical for a Series 2 era. And well, the same with the other door. Check that the doors match. Many times you have a different door from the other. And now what we're going to do is check if this car is a Series 2 or if it comes with the correct engine. Let's take a look at it. We open the car with this handle here, we lift the hood, which is the correct one because it's completely flat, as you can see. And looking in here, we can already tell that this engine is not the one it should have. It's a Series 3 engine. So we would need to look for an engine from a Series 2, or many times just leave the one that's there. The radiator is the right one. It's a radiator that's much wider than normal ones. These radiators cool much better. And well, I know why they did this. Why doesn't it have the correct engine? That's pretty common for that time, right? Didn't it break? The farmer would say, "I'm missing an engine." And the mechanic would reply, "Let's use a Series 3 engine, and you'll see it run better." Yes, without a doubt.
Here, the fact that the air filter is removed already tells you that to start it, what it needs is to put ether in there.
I haven't asked him or tried to start it, but I assume that's why it's gone. You put ether in it, and it's much easier to start. It's already telling you that the vehicle needs a tune-up. The bumper is completely bent. Oh, not important. These bumpers cost about 100 euros to take out and put in a new one.
And what about the paint?
Well, fixing this whole vehicle, there's definitely quite a bit of money to spend here, without a doubt. Well, I hope that with these comments, you've been able to understand a little bit about these vehicles. So we have a Series 2, a Series 2A. For me, all of these cars are donors. They need a lot of work, a lot of money you have to spend to fix them. Bodywork and paint here cost about 4,500 euros, seriously. To go over all the underbody, also the chassis underbody, to repair it, clean it, about 4,500. For the mechanics, including brakes and all that, about 1,000 euros. When it comes to the engine, finding the right engine, the interior, the cost goes up a lot. That's why they're worth so much money when they're restored. People don't quite get it, but yes, this is a great car. Well, if you agree, why don't you put what you would pay for these donor cars in the video? If there's anyone who's really interested in these cars, let me know.
And maybe you can reach an agreement with me or with the owner of these cars to make a better offer.
Without artificial time. So let's go to Olesa and check that out. Did you already see the conditions? How were the vehicles? So in the end, I'm closing the video. I call this gentleman, whose name I still don't know. I don't even have his phone number, because I always spoke with his sister-in-law.
Before recording the video, I asked him if he knew exactly who it was, how they had gotten in touch.
I was curious. He said, "No, I don't know you. I need to know." And I tell him, "Well, I'm just Mark's Garage from a YouTube channel. I make videos." Last year, I had almost 10 million views. I'm usually pretty well known for the Land Rover stuff because I've restored a lot of them. I just thought that's why they called me to see them and that they more or less knew who I was. I explained to him, I say I'm going to record the videos so that people later know which car it is. And if he doesn't accept my offer, well, at least it helps you find it. Someone who is willing to spend more money than I was going to spend. I give him an explanation. You've already seen it in the video, and I even say that I'll give you this gentleman's phone number in case you're interested in one of the cars, so you can make him an offer and buy it from him. To help people who are into cars, the enthusiasts. Well, in general, that's all of us, and maybe someone doesn't want to pay that much. Because you already know what's going to happen and what will happen. Restoring it will be expensive. And you say no, you know?
Like
the more you understand, sometimes it's harder to buy one of these vehicles. What's going on? I don't want to go on and on, so I make him an offer. I make him an offer of 4,000 for the one I haven't seen. I mean, I can't. I've only seen it in a photo. I offer him 4,000 euros. It's a Series 3, and I offer him 1,500 for the Series 2 he has there. And 1,500 1,000 for the one that doesn't have an engine. So I offer him 5,500 for the Series 2 and Series 3 and 1,000 for the other one, 6,500 for all three. In my mind, I want to reach 7,500 at most, which usually means making an offer of 6,500 and then finally settling at 7,500, and that's it.
Oh, he gets mad at me.
And instead of saying, wow, that's too little, if you make me a slightly higher offer, you know, the normal conversation. He doesn't ask me, did you waste my time? I mean, how have I made you waste your time?
Yeah, who called me to come see the cars, and I'm doing him a favor if it wasn't for me.
If you don't accept my offer, I'll give you another phone number of people who are watching the video. Honestly, people these days are very ungrateful and they have everything. I mean, in a way that blows my mind. I told him, look, I made you the offer because I haven't even seen the papers for these cars yet. I mean, they do have papers. He pulls out his phone when I tell him this, starts looking. Yeah, they have papers, starts looking. You're waiting for them to show you the technical sheet and the registration permit, but they don't show you anything, right? They close the phone without you saying anything. Put it away again? No, and they get angry. No. It's just that in life I'm already burned out. They claim to have the papers, but after you pay, the papers never appear, or they're in a deceased person's name. No. The offer is based on what I have, on the things I see, on the things I know, and not on fantasies. And that's how we are. After knowing nothing, I knew everything they were worth, restored.
It seems that this guy who sells in San Cugat had already gone to see him and had also wasted his time.
And that this can't be.
Man, how could you not waste his time if a professional like the guy from San Cugat who sells and restores Land Rovers came to see him?
He probably noticed one lacked an engine and the other had a Series 3 engine instead of a Series 2. And all the crazy things he's done, like taking out the rear hoops and throwing them away because they were bent.
Damn it, you fixed them.
He's upset because he won't get his money back for the vehicles. Man, but instead of being better, they're actually worse now. How will you tell him? If he sees the video, he'll find out. You can't keep saying I wasted your time when I was the one who wasted time this morning. And besides, with a rude person. No, you need to have a little bit of... I don't know who he thinks he is. This gentleman says he has a lot of work. That's what he told me. We all have work. I also have a lot of work, so I don't want to go on any longer. I'm sure things like this have happened to you too when going to buy cars. They tell you one thing and then it's something else. And on top of that, have they treated you badly too? I arrived angry and talked to Javier, who also shared the story. About something that happened to him with a Seat 600 he had for sale, which might even be worse than my story. So, if you want, in the comments you can tell me about the dumbest thing that has happened to you when buying a car or maybe selling one. Third story, we see this Toledo Marina series on Wallapop, which is the most limited thing after COVID. And without a doubt, when we saw it, we contacted the gentleman and asked him how the car was. They say it's from an older man who posted the ad as a favor and has no more photos. And he only shows us this photo. But the car has 90,000 kilometers from an older gentleman who always kept it in a garage. And what you see in the photo is just dirt. Because the car is in great condition and it only has a small scratch on the grille. Second, you already know, important car. You already know, important car from the history, and you know the most important car of... All right? The car is special because it's a Marina. You see, it has these marks here on the trunk, on each of the handles. Here, it says Marina. The car is a piece of crap. Not like they had shown us. It's dented, badly painted. It doesn't fit well. Do you see? Over here, nothing fits well. And then this part too, look, this doesn't fit either. It's open here. The door is, well, hanging with the other one. A mess. The sill is held up with different nails.
What a shame. Quite an inspection.
It would be quite special, but Raoul, how is it? It's a shame. This car is unique, but it has been mistreated a lot. For a unique one that was left, and it's going to be impossible to find another one. Marina, yes, original, no leather, suede handbrake like the Grand Touring. 3, everything's there, but all is wrecked. See how nice it would look on the back if everything matched? The turned perforated leather, right? Has all the leather been pulled away? The photos they send you are of a car that looks good. They just send you some photos of the front, which is the part that looks good. And then from the side, well, it's all smashed up. And from the back with an accident, I mean, it's had 2 accidents here, a really bad side accident. See how it's bent? And here, the door overlaps. It took a massive hit from behind. Devastating. Yes, or also, yes, the one that moved back because the frame is perfectly aligned. Perfect. It's really strong at the back. See, it's not centered here. That wasn't from behind. See, it's off center. Yes, exactly. Toledo has to be on the right and the seat has to be here on the left. It crashed from behind. You're right. It was a very strong hit. Huh?
Yes.
Exactly. That's all. Why all this? It's not varnished, just badly painted. Very badly. It crashed here. That's it. Very badly painted. That's really it. Right now, the bodywork has caved in here. Yes. I'm sure the chassis is damaged. Yes. Now, we could open it, but it's not worth wasting any more time. But look, that's how it is. A disaster. 2 minutes later, the guy who was doing the favor for Mr. Mayor came. And he showed us the inside of the suitcase where we saw what we already knew before opening it. Then we asked him to open the vehicle and he opened the door to see if there was the wrinkle, and there it was, just as we thought. Then, just out of curiosity, we asked him to start the car. The car, after 5 seconds, was already leaking antifreeze from the tip of the thermostat. I mean, there was no way this car could make a trip to Barcelona. Well, that's how it is. I hope you like these stories. The 3 worst ones, in my opinion, for or from 2022. And if you like them, let me know in the comments. And we'll see more, hopefully not too many, in 2023. So that's all for today, friends. See you next week. I'm Mark, and this is Mark's Garage. If you don't know my website yet, visit it and you'll find Mark's Garage merchandise for sale.
And many other things, like the ceramic product for your classic car's oil.
If you like what you see, click subscribe. And that's all for today, friends.